Close your eyes and let the world slow down. Tonight, we're going on a journey through history, guided by the warm, velvety scent of chocolate. This is not a story to rush, it's one to melt into, like a square of dark cocoa on the tongue. So find a soft place to rest, let your breath grow calm, and allow your thoughts to drift. Because tonight, we follow the secret history of chocolate, from sacred drink to sweet dream. The jungle hums, air thick as honey. Every breath tastes of rain and green. Somewhere in the dark, something drips steady, rhythmic like the jungle's heartbeat. You can almost smell the damp bark, the sweet rot perfume of fruit melting into soil. Welcome to ancient Mesoamerica, cradle of cacao, the tree that would one day hijack the world's taste buds. But right now, it's just a shy little plant hiding under the canopy, pods glowing gold and crimson against the moss-black trunks. They hang low like lanterns the gods forgot to collect. If you were an Olmec farmer 2,500 years ago, you'd notice those pods. You'd slice one open with a jade blade and find 30-odd seeds wrapped in white pulp. You'd taste it, bitter, sour, electric, and your tongue would say no thank you, but your mind would whisper this is something. The Olmecs didn't write down recipes, but we know from traces on ancient pottery they were the first to grind those seeds, mix them with water, and invent the world's earliest chocolate drink. Cue the Maya, the poets of the jungle. They perfected the brew, frothed it with wooden whisks until it turned to velvet foam, then poured it from height so it hissed like rain. It wasn't dessert, it was divinity. They called it cacao, a word that still sounds like birdsong. To drink it was to sip the lifeblood of the earth. Picture a ceremonial courtyard, torches flickering, drums slow as thunder. A priest lifts a clay vessel painted with serpents. He whispers the name of Kukulkan, the feathered god who gave humanity both maize and cacao. Legend said he stole it from paradise itself, so mortals could taste joy. Every sip since has been an act of devotion and mild theft. For the Maya, cacao meant status. Commoners offered beans as taxes, kings hoarded them like treasure. Entire economies buzzed around those tiny seeds. One bean could buy a tamale, 100 could buy a slave. Chocolate wasn't eaten, it was spent. Now the scene shifts. Tenochtitlan, capital of the Aztec Empire, 15th century, a city of canals and color, where floating gardens shimmer on the lake. Emperor Montezuma II strides through the palace, cloak trailing, golden goblet in hand. What's inside? Not wine, not water. Chili-spiced, honey-sweetened cacao. He drinks 50 cups a day. Courtiers swear it fuels his battles and his passions. Whether that's truth or flattery, the man believed it. So did everyone who wanted to live another day. To outsiders, it looked like sorcery. Beans turned into vigor, bitterness into bliss. And maybe it was. The Aztecs called it xocoatl, meaning bitter water. But the word chocolate, that soft, sleep-friendly sound, was already forming in their mouths. Night falls. The jungle quiets. Somewhere deep beneath the leaves, a farmer gathers fallen pods. He doesn't know his harvest will one day travel across oceans, reshape empires, sweeten revolutions and comfort billions before sleep. He only knows that when he cracks one open, the smell that rises, warm, earthy, ancient, feels like the breath of a god. So next time you unwrap a bar or stir cocoa into milk, remember, you're holding the jungle's secret, a whisper from the first people who dared to taste the divine. And as the rain starts again, steady against the leaves, you can almost hear it, the soft bubbling of cacao on the fire, the chant of a priest in the distance, the heartbeat of a world that discovered sweetness in the shadows. The jungle is gone now. In its place, stone, towering temples, painted walls, smoke curling from incense burners that smell of resin and rain. You're standing in a Mayan city, around 600 CE. The air is heavy with ceremony. The ground hums with drums, and somewhere in the crowd, a priest is about to lift a cup of the most sacred drink on earth, cacao. This isn't the sweet chocolate we know. There's no sugar, no milk, no comfort. This is xocoatl. Bitter, thick, alive, ground from roasted beans, whipped with water and chili, sometimes flavored with honey, flowers, or maize. It's not meant to soothe, it's meant to wake the gods. The crowd watches as the priest pours the liquid back and forth between two vessels, over and over. From arm's length above his head, the stream falls like bronze silk, frothing into a soft, foamy crown, a texture so sacred it's practically divine currency. The foam is for the gods, the rest is for the chosen few. Cacao isn't just a drink here, it's wealth, status, spiritual electricity. The beans themselves are money. A single cacao bean buys a tamale, 10 buys a rabbit, 100 a slave. Forget gold, cacao is gold. It flows through the markets of Tikal and Copan, down jungle rivers and into royal storerooms. The kings don't just hoard treasure, they hoard taste. Inside the temple, torches flicker. The walls are painted with gods, serpents, jaguars, and divine twins crossing into the underworld. At the altar, a bowl of cacao is placed beside jade beads and blood offerings. The message is clear. The gods gave cacao to humanity, and humanity must give it back. Every sip is both prayer and payment. Outside, warriors prepare for battle. They drink cacao mixed with maize and chili, a hot, bitter rush that burns all the way down. It's strength in liquid form, courage you can swallow. For lovers, it's something else entirely. Cacao spiked with honey and vanilla, shared before weddings, whispered over with blessings for fertility and fire. Cacao is everywhere and everything, a bridge between worlds. The living drink it to honor the dead, the dying drink it to meet the gods. It's poured at births, at funerals, before war, after victory. There's no life without cacao, and no death without its taste lingering on the tongue. And then, centuries later, the scene shifts again, from Mayan jungles to the gleaming Aztec capital of Tenochtitlan, a city floating on water, glittering with obsidian, filled with marketplaces so vast they make modern cities look small. Here the drink is reborn, richer, darker, stronger. Enter Emperor Montezuma II, ruler of millions, dressed in jaguar skin and gold. He doesn't drink wine, he doesn't touch water, he drinks cacao. Only cacao. 50 golden goblets a day. Servants line up with jugs of frothing chocolate, spiced with chili, coloured red with annatto, perfumed with vanilla. Each cup is poured fresh, whisked to foam, served warm as blood. Legend says he drinks it before visiting his harem, believing it grants him energy, passion, and godlike vitality. Whether myth or ego, Montezuma treats cacao not as drink but as power made liquid, a sip for dominance, a gulp for desire, a taste of immortality. Here, chocolate is no bedtime comfort. It's an empire's engine, a potion of reverence and lust. It fuels warriors, blesses lovers, and crowns kings. Bitter, divine, untamed, the drink of gods, flowing through mortal hands. And as night falls over Tenochtitlan, the palace glows with torchlight, the air thick with spice and smoke. The emperor lifts his cup once more, a shimmering potion born from the jungle, now ruling the world. The gods are watching, the foam trembles, the cacao remembers. The air smells of salt and smoke. The jungle has vanished behind a curtain of mist, and ahead sails. Great white wings cutting across the horizon. The year is 1519. The gods the Aztecs once prayed to are silent, but new ones are arriving, carved not from stone but from steel. Hernan Cortés stands at the bow of his ship, staring toward the coast of Mexico. His armor gleams, his intentions don't. Behind him men whisper prayers and curses into the wind. The ships creak like old bones, the sea roars, the new world waits, and it doesn't know what's coming. When the Spaniards first step onto the golden shores of Tenochtitlan, they think they've walked into a dream. The streets shimmer with obsidian, the temples rise higher than any cathedral in Spain, and everywhere there's a smell. Smoky, spiced, intoxicating, chocolate. At first they don't understand it. They see servants carrying golden cups filled with a dark, frothy liquid. They see nobles sipping reverently, and warriors drinking before battle. Cortés tries it himself. He takes a sip, then winces. It's bitter, thick and fiery with chili. Not wine, not ale, something stranger. But he watches Emperor Montezuma drink it as if it were blood from the gods themselves. And Cortés, ever the opportunist, realizes one thing. If this is what kings drink here, then Europe will pay dearly for it. Within months, Tenochtitlan falls. Gold is stolen, temples are burned, and the sacred cacao beans once used as money, as offerings, as holy gifts, are packed into barrels and hauled to the ships. Alongside silver, emeralds, and stolen idols, they cross the sea for the first time. Imagine those barrels, silent in the hold. The ship groans under their weight. Outside, waves crash against the hull like fists. A storm rages, thunder, lightning, chaos. Men pray to saints they barely remember. One sailor opens a barrel, tastes the dark powder and spits. Bitter, worthless, he thinks. He doesn't know that inside that flavor hides the future of dessert, romance, comfort, even love. Weeks later, the ships limp into Seville. The barrels are offloaded, the gold counted, the beans ignored. But the monks, always curious, always cautious, begin to experiment. They grind the beans with sugar from the Caribbean, add cinnamon from India, a dash of vanilla from Mexico. They stir, they taste, and suddenly, the bitterness softens. The burn becomes warmth, the froth becomes silk. The sacred drink of the Aztecs is reborn, no longer a prayer but a pleasure. The monks sip quietly in candlelight, unsure if this transformation is holy or heresy. The church frowns, the aristocracy swoons, and soon the secret escapes the cloister walls. Spain's elite fall in love. They drink it at court, in gardens, behind heavy curtains. Chocolate becomes power once again. The new kind, the kind you can hold, sip, and boast about. A sweet empire is rising, built not on swords but on sugar. In every cup of this new chocolate, two worlds swirl together, conquest and comfort, blood and honey. The bitterness of the old gods hides beneath the sweetness of the new. The drink that once fueled rituals now fuels romance. And somewhere in a distant jungle, cacao trees still grow untouched, unaware that their seeds have crossed oceans, conquered palates and changed history forever. The Spaniards came for gold, but it was chocolate that would truly conquer the world. The scene shifts again, from jungle to palace, from drums and incense to harpsichords and chandeliers. The year is somewhere between the 1600s and 1700s, and Europe is drunk on elegance, powdered wigs, velvet gowns, candlelight, everything gleams, everything whispers of power, perfume and pleasure. And at the center of it all, chocolate. It's no longer a sacred ritual in smoky temples. Now it's a luxury poured from porcelain pots, steaming and sweet. The Spanish court guards the secret jealously. Cacao beans roasted behind monastery walls, recipes written in Latin and whispered only in prayer. Nuns in Toledo stir thick chocolate in copper pans, the scent curling through cloisters like temptation itself. Between Hail Marys, they sneak sips. God, they say, must forgive this one. In Madrid, nobles drink it in bed before Mass, convinced it strengthens both body and soul. The church debates, is it a sin to sip during fasting? Priests argue theology while quietly asking for another cup. Spain, the gatekeeper of chocolate, pretends to keep it sacred, but the sweetness is spreading faster than scripture. Across the Pyrenees, France falls headlong into the spell. Versailles glitters like the inside of a jewel box. Courtiers glide across marble floors, faces powdered, fans fluttering like butterflies. In the middle of this golden chaos sits Marie Antoinette, young, restless, radiant, and holding a cup of chocolate. She has her own chocolatier, her personal alchemist of desire, who travels with her wherever she goes. Every morning he whisks her potion to perfection: cocoa, milk, sugar, and sometimes a touch of amber or orange blossom. The court calls it a luxury. Marie calls it comfort. When politics turn sour, she retreats behind silk curtains and sips in silence. For her, chocolate isn't a symbol of wealth. It's a balm against the noise of a crumbling world. Meanwhile, in England, chocolate has taken on a wilder form. Forget etiquette, forget royalty. Welcome to the chocolate houses, smoky, noisy, intoxicating dens where poets, gamblers and spies share gossip over steaming cups. The air smells of tobacco and toasted cocoa. Gold coins clink, secrets trade hands, revolutions begin in whispers. It's 1690 at White's Chocolate House in London. A poet in ruffles recites verses to a woman wearing too much perfume. A politician scribbles a bribe on a napkin. In a corner, a young spy passes a note that could topple a kingdom. Chocolate here isn't polite, it's dangerous. It loosens tongues, heats blood, and blurs the line between pleasure and power. Back in Paris, the drink has evolved again. Chocolatiers pour it into delicate porcelain cups painted with cherubs and roses. Lovers exchange glances over saucers, fingers brushing, the foam trembling between them. The drink of gods has become the drink of love. Sweet, rich, slightly forbidden. But beneath the velvet and sugar, something older still lingers, that ancient heartbeat from the jungle. The Mayan priests, the Aztec emperors, their ghosts drift through every sip. The divine has been dressed in lace, but its pulse remains wild. By the 18th century, chocolate is no longer a curiosity. It's an empire of taste. Spain guards it, France romanticizes it, England commercializes it. The world can't sleep without it now. It fuels salons, seductions and scandals. It turns breakfasts into flirtations, and prayers into cravings. And as the candles burn low in Versailles, the nuns whisper their final prayers in Toledo, and the gamblers make their final bets in London, a new addiction hums quietly through the night, elegant, golden and unstoppable. The age of divine chocolate is over. The age of desire has begun. The palaces grow quiet, the chandeliers dim, the world is changing fast. Steam, smoke, invention, iron wheels turn, gears grind, chimneys breathe fire into the sky. The age of lace and court whispers gives way to the age of noise. Welcome to the 19th century, where machines dream louder than kings. And chocolate. It's about to break free from porcelain cups and powdered wigs. It's about to belong to everyone. The story begins in Holland, 1828. A chemist named Coenraad van Houten stands in his workshop, sleeves rolled up, face smudged with cocoa dust. He's not an aristocrat or a priest, just a man obsessed with texture. For centuries, chocolate has been a drink of the elite, too rich, too heavy, too oily for the everyday soul. But Van Houten sees a problem he can solve. He builds a machine, all pistons and pressure. He feeds roasted cacao into it. The press groans, hisses, and then magic. The beans surrender their secrets. Out flows cocoa butter, pale and smooth, leaving behind a fine brown powder. Lighter, cleaner, easier to mix. The bitter brew of gods and queens has been tamed into something anyone could whisk at home. That single invention, the cocoa press, changes everything. Chocolate is no longer an event. It's a habit, a comfort, a daily pleasure. Across Europe, the aroma of roasted beans begins to drift from factories instead of palaces. Birmingham, Bern, Vevey. Cities once known for coal and clocks are now perfumed with sugar and cocoa. Windows fog with steam. Conveyor belts hum like lullabies. In England, John Cadbury opens a small shop selling drinking chocolate for the working class, a kind alternative to gin. Families crowd around cups of warmth instead of bottles of escape. For the first time, chocolate is moral, even wholesome. But the real revolution hasn't even begun. In Switzerland, the mountains echo with another sound, the soft scrape of spoons in copper pans. A man named Rodolphe Lindt is stirring. He wants his chocolate smoother, softer, silkier. He keeps stirring. Hours pass, days. When he finally stops, the texture has changed forever. Melt-in-your-mouth chocolate is born. Then comes Henri Nestlé, a chemist who perfects powdered milk. He joins forces with another chocolatier, Daniel Peter, who asks, what if we mix the two? The result is milk chocolatier, Daniel Peter, who asks, what if we mix the two? The result is milk chocolate, creamy, sweet, impossible to resist. Factories bloom like steel flowers. Workers in aprons pour molten chocolate into molds shaped like hearts, coins, and bricks. Children press their faces to the glass. Eyes wide as rivers of glossy brown flow past. The air smells like heaven on fire. Sugar, vanilla, roasted dreams. Everywhere, chocolate is being democratized. Wrapped, labeled, sold by the ounce. What was once divine is now deliciously ordinary. A treat for birthdays, holidays, heartbreaks, and rainy days. And yet, inside every bar, the ancient echoes remain. The jungle hums softly beneath the hum of machinery. The Mayan priests, the Aztec warriors, the French queens, their ghosts drift in the cocoa dust. The world may have changed, but the magic never left. By the end of the century, chocolate has conquered the planet. From London tea rooms to New York candy stores, from Paris boulevards to factory lunch pails, everyone is chasing that same silky sweetness. It's no longer just a drink. It's a dream you can hold in your hand, solid, shining and sweet as hope itself. And as the factory lights dim, the last drops of molten chocolate cool into shape. Another bar slides down the line, still warm. Somewhere a child unwraps it, the first bite melting like memory, and the story continues, rich and endless in every tongue that tastes it. The world hums now, with engines, radios and factories. Smoke curls over skylines. Trains thunder through valleys, and ships slice through dark oceans. It's the early 20th century, and the scent of chocolate drifts with the steam across ports, continents and dreams. In London and New York, in Zurich and Tokyo, the air itself seems sweeter. The old gods of cacao have gone quiet, replaced by new ones with shiny wrappers and catchy slogans. Hershey, Cadbury, Toblerone, Nestlé, Lindt. The names become spells, short, melodic, familiar. You unwrap them, and the world feels safe again. Factories roar. Conveyor belts sing their metallic lullabies. Molten chocolate flows through pipes like rivers of silk. Workers pour it into molds, bars, hearts, coins, kisses. In the early morning, when the first shift begins, the city smells like dessert. For the first time in history, chocolate belongs to everyone. To the miners, the mothers, the dreamers, the lovers. A bite of comfort, wrapped in gold foil, carried in lunchboxes and pockets across the world. Then, war. World War I. Trenches, mud, silence broken by shellfire. Amid the chaos, soldiers unwrap small rectangles of sweetness, chocolate rations, sent from home. The taste is quick, fleeting, but powerful. It melts against the tongue like a promise, you'll see morning again. World War II follows, and once again chocolate marches with the armies. Each bar a lifeline, a memory, a bit of sanity hidden in khaki pockets. Soldiers trade them, hoard them, share them with children in ruined cities. The war ends, but the craving doesn't. They return home still dreaming of that taste, simple, sweet, steady, and the world's appetite explodes. By the 1950s, chocolate has a new face. Neon signs, diner counters, movie theaters glowing in Technicolor. Lovers share milkshakes, kids clutch candy bars, and Valentine's hearts are filled with truffles and promises. Adverts whisper, "Say it with chocolate." Factories buzz, radio jingles sing, and every bite feels like joy in miniature. It's the golden age of chocolate dreams. But the story keeps moving. The world spins faster. Jet planes, supermarkets, global brands. Then, amid all the speed and sweetness, a quiet rebellion begins. A few people start listening again to the bean, the soil, the rain. In small workshops and kitchens, artisanal chocolatiers rediscover the ritual. They speak of notes, of terroir, of the spirit of cacao. They temper and swirl, sculpt and taste, chasing the ancient alchemy that first enchanted the Maya. Meanwhile, far from the boutiques and billboards, the cacao trees still grow. In Ghana, Ecuador, Madagascar, forests alive with cicadas and red soil. Farmers crack open pods, revealing rows of pale, pulpy beans. The scent is fruit and earth and sweat. Their hands tell the story that factories forgot. Every bar begins with labor, with weather, with a living tree. Chocolate has become both a miracle and a mirror, showing humanity's sweetest dreams and its hungriest contradictions. Wonder and exploitation, nature and industry, side by side. And yet, the spell never breaks. Because somewhere right now, someone is unwrapping a bar. The foil sighs open. The scent rises deep, roasted, ancient. That same smell that drifted through Mayan temples and Aztec courts, through European parlors and factory towns. It's not just a flavor. It's a memory of everything, of jungles and gods, of inventions and wars, of love and comfort. Chocolate still moves, still melts, still murmurs the same quiet promise. The world changes, but sweetness endures. The spirit of cacao never died. It simply found new hands and kept whispering.